In the quiet upper sector of Earth's last green city sat a wide glass house surrounded by a perfect garden. The sky above was always soft blue, artificial, but beautiful. Inside the house lived Mira, a 73-year-old woman known across the solar system. She had once been a famous space engineer. Her mind had designed the first safe colony dome on Mars, and her tech made many companies rich. Now she lived alone, old and peaceful, in a house she had built with her own hands. People called her the Iron Mother, but only a few remembered why. Her 3 children, Darren, Lena, and Tomel, had once adored her. She had raised them with love while running labs and building machines that could change the weather. But something had changed after her husband passed away 10 years ago. The children started visiting less. They smiled less. They talked more about money and less about memories. Mira noticed everything. Her mind was old but sharp. One warm morning, she sat in her sunroom, surrounded by vines and soft robotic birds. She sipped her favorite herbal tea and read the headlines on a floating screen. Mars Base Epsilon suffers system glitch, it read. Mira raised an eyebrow. That base still used part of her design. The problem wasn't the code, it was the people. People always forget who built the walls they sleep behind. She whispered. Later that day, her children arrived together, which was rare. All 3 looked serious. Darren wore a tight black suit and carried a polished tablet. Lena smiled too much. Tomel avoided her eyes. "Mama," Darren began, "we've been thinking. It's time you stop living alone. You're getting older. We care about you." Mira leaned back in her chair. "So now you care." Lena stepped forward. "It's for your safety, and we think it's time you sign over the house and the tech patents. You won't need them where you're going." Mira said nothing for a long time. Then she asked, "And where exactly am I going?" Tomel finally spoke. "We already arranged a room for you in the Eden Sleep Facility. It's comfortable, peaceful. It's the best place for someone your age." "Eden Sleep?" Mira's voice was calm. "The place where old minds are placed into stasis forever?" Lena touched her arm. "You'll be asleep, but happy. You won't feel time. And we'll take care of everything else." Mira nodded slowly. Then she stood up. "Follow me," she said. The children exchanged glances and followed her through the halls of the glass house. The floor glowed softly beneath their feet. At the end of the hallway, Mira placed her hand on a panel. A hidden door opened. Inside was a room none of them had seen before. It was cold, filled with soft blue light, and strange machines lined the walls. At the center stood a round platform. "What is this?" Darren asked. Mira smiled faintly. "This is the core of my house, and my final invention. I built it after your father died. I call it Project Echo." Lena stepped back. "Is this a lab?" "It's more than a lab," Mira said. "It's memory, time, and justice combined." Before they could react, Mira tapped a small device on her wrist. The room shimmered. The air thickened. The children couldn't move. Their eyes wide, they froze completely still. Not dead, not asleep. Frozen in time. Mira stood among them, tears quietly touching her cheek. "I gave you love, knowledge, and the stars," she said softly. "You gave me betrayal." She looked at them one by one. "Now you'll have time to think. Forever, if needed." Mira walked out of the room, and the door sealed behind her. The sunroom was quiet again. The birds chirped. The garden swayed. Mira sipped her tea. She turned the page of her floating screen. There was still work to do. For the next few days, Mira continued her life as if nothing had happened. She watered her garden. She fed the small robotic birds that fluttered near the flowers. She even baked fresh bread in the mornings. But deep inside, her heart was heavy. She did not freeze her children because of hate. She did it because they had forgotten everything she had taught them: honesty, respect, and the value of building something with your own hands. Every evening, She would walk past the hidden door, where her children stood frozen inside Project Echo. She paused for a moment, sighed, and then kept walking. They would stay frozen until she decided they were ready to wake up, if ever. One morning, as Myra was trimming the purple roses in her yard, her wrist screen beeped. It was a system alert. Unauthorized scan detected near Zone 7. She looked toward the west side of her land. The outer sensors had picked up something. Could be a drone, she said to herself. But something felt strange. The signal was not normal. It had a rhythm, almost like a message. Myra went inside and opened the security room. She tapped on the screen, zooming in on the outer wall. A small round device floated near the border of her property. It blinked slowly red, then blue, then red again. Her eyes narrowed. She recognized the pattern. It was old galactic Morse. Code a system she helped design during her spacework years. She read the message aloud. Myra, danger, they know. Her hands froze on the panel. Someone out there knew her secret. Maybe not everything, but enough to send her a warning. And whoever they were, they wanted her to be careful. She saved the message and ran a scan. The drone vanished seconds later, disappearing. From the screen, as if it had never been there, Myra sat down deep in thought. Who sent that message? She whispered. And who are they? She didn't like mysteries, especially ones near her home. Later that night, Myra went into her underground lab. She opened a locked drawer and pulled out an old badge, silver, round, and marked with 3 stars. It was from the Earth Systems Command, the elite group of scientists and defense minds she once worked with. She placed the badge on a small scanner. A hidden file unlocked on her screen. It contained old records from Project Echo's early designs before she made it her own. It had once been a government experiment, meant to freeze time in small areas during war. Myra had improved it and hidden it in her home, but now she wondered if someone from her past had discovered she had built the final working model. Suddenly, her lights flickered. Her security system beeped again. Breach detected. Sector 3. Myra stood up quickly and activated the defense system. Robotic guards hidden in the walls powered up. She grabbed a small handheld device, a time disruptor. It looked like a remote, but it could freeze or slow time for 10 seconds. She walked calmly toward the outer wall. In the distance, she saw 2 figures in dark suits trying to cut through her barrier. Myra didn't wait. She pressed the disruptor. Time slowed. The air turned thick. The intruders stopped moving, frozen in mid-step. She walked up to them and looked closely. Both wore no logos, no names, just plain black. But their boots had tiny markings: GIA TE, an old private tech group known for stealing secret inventions. Myra sighed. So the scavengers have found me. She placed a small chip on each of their collars. The chip would wipe their memory of the last hour and send them 10 miles away. Once time resumed, she returned to her control room and pressed the reset. The 2 men vanished from her property, but Myra now understood. Her home was no longer safe. Looked toward the sealed room where her children remained frozen. They aren't the only ones who betrayed me, she said quietly. She opened her system logs and activated a hidden plan. Sky Garden Protocol, emergency lockdown. It was time to prepare for war, not just with enemies outside. The sun rose slowly over the glowing towers of Earth's last green city, but Myra's house was already in full lockdown. Thick silver walls had risen around her garden. Sky drones circled silently above. The soft beauty of her home was now hidden under layers of defense. Myra sat in her command chair, eyes on the floating screens. Her fingers moved quickly, checking each system: water, air, power, shields. Everything was ready. She was not scared. She had lived through wars, space, storms, and betrayals worse than this. But now, at her age, she had hoped for peace. Clearly, peace would have to wait. Suddenly, a message flashed on the screen. Incoming transmission. Unknown source, priority 1. Mira hesitated, then tapped the green button. A voice came through, low and calm. Mira, you're harder to find than we expected. She did not reply. The voice continued, we know what you built. And we know your children are inside Project O. Mira's eyes narrowed. Who are you? The voice chuckled, we go by many names. But you can call us the Order. We once worked beside you. Do you remember the Polaris base? Mira froze for a moment. The Polaris base was a dark memory, hidden experiments, secret tests, and lost lives. She had left that place long ago when she realized what the leaders truly wanted. You were part of that? She asked coldly. Yes, the voice replied. And we know you took the last working prototype of Echo. You improved it. We need it back. Mira stood up from her chair. You don't want it to help people. You want to control time. You want to turn it into a weapon. We don't want to hurt anyone, Mira, the voice lied. But you're alone, old, tired. Just give it to us, and we'll let you rest. Mira turned off the screen. She had heard enough. Her house was now a battlefield, and she would not surrender it. She walked into the main hall and opened a sealed panel. Behind it was her personal AI assistant, named Leaf, shaped like a floating white cube with a gentle green light. Leaf, she said, activate Home Defense Layer 2 and prepare Sky Garden for full detachment. Leaf spoke softly, warning. Full detachment will remove this house from the Earth grid. Are you sure? Yes, Mira said. It's time to move. She walked to the center of the room and stood on the round platform. Leaf hovered beside her. Location set? Mira asked. Confirmed, Leaf replied. High orbit, stealth mode. You have 90 seconds to prepare. The floor beneath Mira hummed. The walls shifted. The house was more than just a house. It had hidden engines, solar wings, and a magnetic lift system. Mira had built it with care, layer by layer, for the day when she might need to vanish. She returned once more to the sealed chamber where her children were still frozen. She looked at them with sad eyes. I still love you, she whispered. But not even blood gives you the right to betray trust. She tapped the wall and activated a time lock. Now no one could enter or wake them for at least 30 days. Then she walked back upstairs. The countdown reached 0. With a quiet rumble, the house began to rise. The grass and trees folded back. The roots of the garden retracted into hidden storage pods. The glass roof turned solid, and the engines fired silently. The sky garden lifted off the earth and vanished into the sky like a star being born. Far below, agents of the Order arrived too. Late. All they found was a flat piece of ground and the echo of wind. Up in orbit, Mira watched Earth slowly shrink below her. Her home floated quietly, invisible to all radar, hidden behind old space tricks she had once taught to soldiers. Leaf floated beside her. We are safe, for now, Mira nodded. But they will come again, and next time, they will bring more than words. She looked out at the stars. I gave them everything. Now, I will protect what's mine. Her journey was not over. Mira's sky garden floated in silence, high above Earth. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful, blue, green, and white, like a marble in space. But Mira knew peace on the surface was only a cover. Something was coming. The Order would not stop. Inside the house, Mira kept working. She spent hours improving her defense code, checking her backup power, and studying old files from the Polaris base. Somewhere in those files was a clue, a weakness in the Order she could use. Leafer AI floated beside her. Mira, external scan complete. One object detected, approaching from shadow side. She looked up. Is it a missile? Leaf paused. No, it's a person, in a suit. No heat, no signal. Mira stood. A person? In space? Alone? She moved quickly to the control deck. The outer camera zoomed in. A figure floated toward the sky garden, slow, steady, and silent. The spacesuit was old, patched, and painted in silver and green. Mira's breath caught. She recognized that suit. Open. The docking pod, she said softly. Leaf warned. This is a risk. I know, Myra replied. Do it anyway. Minutes later, the figure entered through the airlock. Mira stood at the edge of the chamber, watching the person remove the helmet. A man with gray hair, tired eyes, and a long scar across his cheek. Looked up at her. Mira took a step forward. Reed? The man smiled weakly. Still sharp, Mira. You're supposed to be dead. So are you, according to half the galaxy, Reed replied. He walked slowly toward her, breathing heavily. I escaped them 3 years ago. I've been hiding ever since. But when I heard they were hunting you, I had to warn you. Mira guided him to a chair. How did you survive? You were captured at Polaris, Reed nodded. Yes, they wanted my mind. My memories. I gave them fake codes. But I escaped before they took the real ones. Why are they after me now? She asked. Because you finished Project Echo, Reed said. The final version. The one that works. You're the only person alive who can control time on a real scale, Mira sighed. They want to build a weapon. A global freeze system. Yes, Reed confirmed. They plan to sell it to the highest bidder. Freeze cities. Control governments. Mira stood, anger rising in her chest. I built Echo to protect. Not to control, Reed looked at her seriously. Then you have to destroy it. She shook her head. No, not yet. First, I need to wake my children. They need to know what they did, and what's coming. Reed frowned. You froze them? They betrayed me, she said simply. Signed me away to a stasis center, for money, for my patents. He nodded slowly. Still, they're your family. I gave them everything. They gave me away, Mira said. But I won't let them die. Not if there's still hope. Suddenly, Leaf beeped. New alert, the AI said. Enemy ship detected. 1 minute from visual range. Class. Shadow Cruiser. Belongs to the Order. Mira and Reed looked at each other. They found me, she said. Reed stood. We have one choice, run or fight. Mira's eyes sharpened. I don't run, not anymore. She rushed to the main console and powered up the ship's hidden engines. They hadn't been used in years, but they still hummed to life. Leaf activated the defense pods, and small drones floated out from the walls, ready for battle. The Sky Garden shook as the Shadow Cruiser came into view. Mira tapped into the speaker system. Her voice rang through space. This is Mira, turn back. You have no right to chase me. A voice replied, cold and metallic, surrender Project Echo, or be erased. Mira smiled. You forgot one thing, she said. I built the stars you're flying through. And then the battle began. The Shadow Cruiser hovered like a black monster outside the Sky Garden. It had sharp wings, thick armor, and a giant cannon under its nose. Mira stood at her control panel, eyes calm, hands steady. Reed stood beside her, ready. Leaf's voice echoed. Enemy ship is charging weapons. Myra didn't panic. She pressed a few buttons on her wrist screen. All defense drones took position. Small silver bots floated outside her home, forming a glowing shield wall. They weren't made for full war, but they could buy time. Leaf, she said. Target their main engine. We don't need to destroy them, just stop them. Understood, the eye replied. The first laser blast came fast. The Sky Garden shook. The walls held, but not for long. Reed grabbed onto the wall to keep balance. They're serious. Mira nodded. So am I. She activated her counterattack. From the garden walls, a beam of green light shot toward the enemy ship. It hit the cruiser's side, leaving a deep burn. Sparks flew, But the ship didn't stop. "They're sending drones," Leaf reported. 6 units, entering close range. "Let them come," Mira said. In her greenhouse dome, vines moved. These were no ordinary plants, they were part machine, part nature. Long green tendrils rose from flower beds, waiting. The enemy drones entered through a side vent, flying low and fast. They scanned the rooms, searching for the Project Echo core. But as soon as they passed the greenhouse, the vines struck. Snap! Whip! Crash! The vines wrapped around the drones and crushed them one by one. Sparks flew, leaves burned. But none of the invaders reached the core. From the main deck, Mira smiled. "They thought I only knew tech. They forgot I also know nature." Reed looked at her with respect. "You've turned your house into a fortress." "I built it for peace," she replied, "but prepared it for war." Just then, Leaf called out again. "Main cannon of enemy ship charging again." 20 seconds to impact. Myra didn't hesitate. She opened a hidden panel and pulled out a golden cube. It was the emergency core of Echo, a device that could slow time around the Sky Garden. "For 1 full minute, Leaf," she said. "Prepare Echo Shield. Activating now." As the enemy cannon fired, a soft wave of blue energy covered Mira's home. The beam from the shadow cruiser slowed like it was swimming through honey. It bent and lost power, striking the shield with a soft thud. Reed exhaled. "That could have ended us." Mira nodded. "But now they're blind for 60 seconds. Let's make it count." She tapped her screen, sending commands to all drones and defense bots. "Target their wings," she ordered. "Take out their balance." Drones shot forward, zipping through space. One by one, they struck the shadow cruiser's side wings. Explosions lit the black sky. The enemy ship turned slightly, spinning off course. Inside the cruiser, someone shouted through the comms. "Stop! Stop! Pull back! We're losing control," Mira spoke calmly. "I warned you." The enemy ship began drifting away, smoke pouring from its sides. Mira did not chase. She knew they would return, but next time they would be more careful. Leaf reported, "Enemy ship retreating. Damage 43%. They will need repairs." Mira finally sat down. Her house was safe for now. Reed walked over. "That was impressive." Mira looked out the window, where pieces of metal floated quietly. "They thought I was just an old woman. They forgot who I was before I was a mother." Reed nodded. "What now?" Myra's eyes narrowed. "Now I go to them. To the order?" Reed asked. "No," she said. "To my children. They may have betrayed me, but I need to wake them. They must see the truth with their own eyes." Leaf hovered close. "Warning, Project Echo Chamber is still sealed. Time lock in place." "Override it," Mira said. "I'm ready." She stood up, strong and steady, the way she always had before her name was forgotten, before her own family turned against her. The time had come to awaken the frozen past, and maybe, just maybe, fix what was broken. Inside the quiet lower chamber of the Sky Garden, time had stopped. The blue light in the room glowed softly around the frozen forms of Myra's 3 children, Darin, Lena, and Tomal. They stood still, eyes wide open, stuck in the moment they had betrayed their mother. Mira stood outside the chamber, holding a small control device. Leaf, her AI assistant, floated beside her. "Are you sure?" Leaf asked. "They may still try to take everything." Mira's voice was calm. "They must see the truth. They must see what I protected, and what they almost destroyed." Leaf responded. "Time lock override in 3, 2, 1. A quiet hum passed through the chamber. The blue light dimmed. Time began to move again. Mira watched as her children blinked, gasped, and stumbled forward, confused. Darren looked around first. Where are we?" Tomal held his head. "What happened?" Lena's voice shook. "Mama?" Mira stepped inside. Her back was straight, her eyes sharp. "Welcome back." All three stared at her in shock. "Mama? But we put you in a care center. What is this place?" Darren asked. "You tried," Mira said. "But I stopped you, and then I gave you time to think." Lena's eyes widened. "We were frozen?" "How long?" 30 days, Mira replied. "Just enough for you to miss your freedom." Tomo looked around at the glowing walls and strange machines. "Is this your lab?" "This is my home," Mira said. "And more than that, it's my shield." Darren's face turned serious. "You kept us frozen against our will. That's wrong." Mira looked at him calmly. "And what you did was right. You tried to erase my name, my work, my mind. For what? Control?" Lena stepped forward. "We were scared. You were getting older. You started hiding things. We didn't know what you were planning." "I was planning to survive," Mira said. "Because I knew one day someone would come to steal Project Echo. And now they have." Tomo looked confused. Who? Who came?" Mira tapped her wrist screen. A 3D image appeared in the air, showing the shadow cruiser, the battle in space, and the burning wreckage. Her children watched in silence. "They're called the Order," Mira said. "People from my past. They want to freeze the world and sell time to the highest bidder." Lena whispered. That's horrible." "Yes," Mira said. "And you almost gave it to them." Without even knowing, there was silence in the chamber. Her children looked ashamed. Darren sat down on a small bench, face in his hands. "We were wrong." Tomo nodded. "We thought you were weak." "You thought I was finished," Mira said. "But I'm not. I built this house to fly. I built the Echo Core to protect life. I built defenses strong enough to hold off an army." She stepped closer. "You are my children. But I will not let blood decide my fate." Lena's eyes filled with tears. "Mama, we're sorry. We were greedy. We were afraid of losing everything." Mira's voice softened. "I don't want to punish you. I want you to learn. If you truly regret what you did, then help me now." Darren stood up. "You want us to fight? I want you to defend what matters," Mira said. "Not just me, but the future. The Order won't stop. They'll come again. And this time they may bring others." Tomo looked around. "What can we do?" Mira looked each of them in the eye. "You can rebuild your hearts. You can help fix the damage you caused. You can help protect Project Echo." Lena stepped forward. "I will." Tomo nodded. "Me too." Darren took a deep breath. "We were wrong. We lost your trust. But we'll earn it back." Mira gave a small, tired smile. "We'll see." She turned to Leaf. "Prepare training. Systems. Teach them how to use the drones. How to handle the tech." Leaf replied. "Confirmed." Beginning lesson module. Defense basics. As Myra's children followed the AI, she watched them go, unsure if she should feel hope or fear. One thing was clear, this family was not done yet. The sky garden hummed softly as Myra's children began their training. Each one moved carefully among the machines and drones that floated silently in the air. The house was no longer just a home. It was a battlefield classroom. Darren, Lena, and Tomo listened closely as Leaf, the AI, explained every system. The drones, the defenses, and the hidden engines, they were all connected. Every button pressed or command given could mean survival or defeat. Lena struggled at first. She fumbled with a drone controller and nearly dropped it. "I'm not sure I can do this," she admitted quietly. Myra, watching from a nearby console, smiled gently. "None of us are perfect on the first try." She walked over and stood beside Lena. "You have to trust yourself. Trust that you can learn. Trust that you want to protect." Lena looked up, eyes shining. "I want to. I want to make things right." Tomo worked hard, his hands steady now as he controlled a small drone through a narrow obstacle course. He smiled as it flew smoothly, hitting every mark. Darren was quieter. He watched everything, analyzing. Then, suddenly he spoke. "Mama," he said, "why didn't you tell us about Project Echo before?" "We never knew how important it was," Mira sighed. "I wanted to protect you. But I see now that keeping secrets made you fear me more." She looked at each of them. "Trust is built with truth. I will tell you everything." Mira began to explain how she built Project Echo after years of work, how it could slow or freeze time in an area. She told them about the battle with the Order, the Shadow Cruiser, and how close she came to losing everything. Her children listened, sometimes shocked, sometimes in awe. "I'm sorry we didn't believe in you," Darren said finally. "We were greedy and afraid. Fear makes people do strange things," Mira said softly. "But we can choose to be better." Leaf interrupted gently. Incoming message from unknown source. Transmission encrypted. Mira tapped the screen and opened the message. The face of a young woman appeared a stranger. "Hello, Mira," the woman said. "I am Nira from the Resistance. We fight the Order too. We've been watching your work. We want to help." Mira's eyes narrowed. "How can I trust you?" Nira smiled. "Because we risk everything for freedom. And because we know your children are with you." Lena exchanged a quick glance with her siblings. "We need allies," Mira said finally. "Prepare to send a reply." As she finished, Mira realized that this was bigger than her house, bigger than her family. The battle for time, for freedom, was just beginning. But with trust growing slowly and new friends arriving from the shadows, hope was possible.